Heads up 20-ups, it's Earth Day. So I'm going outside, and I'm awkward about filming in public places, and I have half of the cymbal stand that I'm using to carry my camera around with at a really large distance away from me, so it's really noticeable. I'm walking down to the store right now because I need to pick up a bunch of chocolate morsels to melt them down because I'm making some delicious, delicious breakfast, even though it's 6 in the afternoon. I woke up several hours ago and I still haven't eaten anything. I'm hungry. I'm just gonna ignore what other people are apparently trying to think about me. James, the Myers-Briggs test. I didn't like that test very much because, to me, yes and no questions are a terrible form of answering. Because I took it twice. I took it the first time after you had originally mentioned it. Took it the first time when you originally mentioned it. And then I forgot what the results were. So I ended up taking it again, and I ended up getting different results the second time. Because it's really... the questions were really dependent on exact situations, and they were really geared toward making it generalized and vague. So I really didn't like it, but... so maybe if there was like a different version of the test, that could be a little more accurate. But my results the second time around were ISTP 78, 62, 1, and 11. And it said some of the famous people who were also like this are Charles Bronson, Bruce Lee, Meg Ryan, and Ronaldo. I honestly don't know who most of those are. And you had also asked what my shirt said, because you saw If I Die Today, and you want to know what the rest of it said. So we were talking about the rant stuff, and after you asked that, I was like, hey, that's the perfect thing I can go on that rant about. I'm gonna rant about this now. It's a shirt from my all-time favorite band, Patent Pending, and it's a line from one of their songs. The song is called Therefore I Party, and the line is, if I die today, I'm going out with my friends. And it's a really awesome line, they're a really awesome band, and I'm gonna totally rant about them whenever we get around to Rant Week. Speaking about Rant Week, and we have a couple of ideas for themes, but we don't have like anything to like solidify a schedule for these themes. So I was thinking maybe we could do 2 weeks of talking, and then the third week do a theme, and then do 2 more weeks of talking again. If we could start that soon, that'd be great. Now I'm at the store, so I'm going to turn you off. TJ, talked about how you were terrible at sewing in home ec, and when I get home, I'll pull out the thing that I sewed in home ec, and it's pretty cool, except there were only 2 options for the fabric you could use, so every single guy chose the same fabric and every single girl chose the same fabric, and it was really stupid, so there was like nothing unique about them. But, and then you also mentioned that it was the 40th video that we had uploaded, and oh wow, the sun's really bright behind me. And you mentioned it was the 40th video, so I did some math, and where is this? Rima will be uploading the 50th video. No, this is the day. I'm talking to a video camera.
I see that, but why?
Because I can. As long as nobody misses an upload day, Rima will be uploading number 50. You, TJ, will be uploading number 75, and Lucy will have the privilege to upload number 100. Jins, you mentioned that you don't have a tripod, and neither do I. This long pole I'm using is part of my cymbal stand. My camera mounts perfectly on it, so instead of using one of my cymbals, on my drum set, I just use it as a camera stand all the time, and it's pretty useful. Danielle, the system that you use to pick movies is rather amazing, and it's brilliant, and it works so much better than what Lucy said is the democracy, and makes me wonder if we could do something like that with like deciding government officials or whatever. I don't know much about the Electoral College and how that works, so if that is what the Electoral College is, then awesome, but if it's not, then I don't know, but maybe we could figure something out like that. And to add on to the conversation about not having TV growing up, I didn't watch much TV while I was growing up. We all had an active imagination, and so we always spent most of our time outside playing instead of watching TV, even though sometimes we would just simply resort to TV because we were bored. And you also brought up Wishbone and how nobody else mentioned that, and I loved that show when I was a kid, and I actually used to have some of the books because apparently they made a book series about it. And now I'm home, so let's continue. Rima, you mentioned that you didn't like it because you were comparing Beetleborgs to the Power Rangers, and I was pretty much the opposite. I never compared anything to anything else when I was a little kid. I started doing that more as I got older, and I do it a lot more often now than I wish I would, because I just don't think it's great. You have to think of everything as something separate, something different, and if you compare something to see which one's better, then obviously you're gonna like one thing better than the other. Like when I was a kid, there were all these trading card games. There was the Harry Potter trading card game, the Digimon trading card game, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and I played all of those. I played every single one of those when I was a kid, even though they were all basically the exact same thing. And I didn't compare one to the other because they were all different to me, and I was having fun with them. And now that I'm older, I'm doing that like a lot with movies. Like, when Avatar came out, people were going crazy about how Avatar is the exact same plot as Pocahontas. And then, after I had all that hype up in my head about that, Battle LA came out, and I was thinking, hey, this is the exact same plot as Avatar, except we're the people at home being invaded by someone else, and which made me not want to go see Battle LA, even though I wasn't going to go see it anyways, because I'm not an action movie. Lucy, I have a lot from your video to talk about, because you hit a lot of stuff. You talked about having an intro for the group, and I tried making one once. I have this idea for one in my head that would be really cool, but I do not have any sort of ability to do animations and stuff. So it completely failed miserably, and I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't even get it started, and it was a really good idea. So, if someone else has something, make it, and it'll be great, I'm sure. But as for my idea, it's just not gonna happen because I can't do it, and I don't know anybody who's really good at animating. You also said your home ec teacher didn't know how to make scrambled eggs. That is a little ridiculous because you just put the eggs in and you mix them around and that's it. That's all scrambled eggs are. And to be completely honest, I had never had eggs in my life before until we made scrambled eggs in home ec. That was the first time I ever had eggs and I liked them, and I was really scared to try it. I had my plate sitting in front of me for a good 10 minutes before I took my first bite. And we were all talking about school mascots, and I think the best school mascot would be a platypus. Like, the school is the Fighting Platypi. Because, first of all, platypi are really cute and adorable, and they're just amazing animals. And second, they're super deadly because they've got this toe on their legs that if it pierces your skin, it's full of poison and will kill you. So they're dangerous and cute, and it's the perfect combination. So if I ever start a school or something, I'm definitely going with a platypus. And some movies that I completely forgot about that I wanted to mention that didn't cross my mind when I was first making my list, because all I could think when I was making the list was Disney. But there were a lot of other good ones that I completely forgot about, one of which TJ had mentioned, even though he didn't say it out loud. He had it in like a little annotation on the side. The Sandlot. That was a really good movie. And a couple of other ones were The Goonies, The Brave Little Toaster, Jurassic Park, Ghostbusters, Men in Black. I don't think anybody mentioned any of those. And those were all from our childhoods. And I don't know how it slipped my mind too, but I'm sure all of you are like, oh, how did I miss that? Because I'm like that every time somebody else mentions a video or a movie or something that I completely forgot about. And then there's one more. I'm not sure how popular this movie was at all, because I don't remember it in theaters at all. And I remember watching it a lot on DVD. We used to go to Blockbuster and rent it all the time because it was a hilarious movie. It's called The Pest, and it had John Leguizamo as the main character, and it was hilarious. I don't know how popular it was, how well known it was, but it was something that I really liked to watch when I was little. You brought up Rocky Horror and how you watched it as a little kid, and I did not see that movie until like 3 years ago. I don't know how it went so long without me seeing it. I was like a senior in high school the first time I saw it. But I did eventually see it, and it was a great movie. And then after I saw it, that year on Halloween, a local theater group put on the play for Rocky Horror, and I went to that, and it was awesome. And the lead character, the guy who was playing Brad, his name is Frank McGinnis, and he is like a famous musician in these parts. He's from Woodstock, which is one town over, and everybody knows who he is. Everybody loves his music, and he's like famous around here. He's an awesome musician. You should check him out because he has really good music. And I'm going to be plugging a lot of things this week if I'm going to be doing the patent pending rant later on. Lastly, I want to get to the censoring thing, how your parents never censored anything from you when you were a kid. And to me, that's the best way to go about parenting. Don't censor your kids from anything, because if you go back and watch a lot of Animaniacs, there were a lot of political reference and religious jokes and references, and it's like, when you're a kid, you're just watching it to be entertained. You don't know what any of those are, but it's still funny to you. And when you get older and you rewatch them, you realize, hey, that is really, really, really topical stuff. And you don't realize that when you're a kid, and you don't really care about it. You're just watching it to be entertained. So when parents get overprotective to protect their kids, you have to realize kids don't know or care about that. They're just looking to be entertained, which is why all the kids shows nowadays are really terrible. And before I forget, this is the thing we sewed in home ec. It's a little pencil case with Velcro on it, and it's just a little pouch that you put all your pens and pencils in. That's my video today. Actually, there's one last thing I want to do, so I'm gonna cut it and jump cut and whatever, because I want to show you what I had for breakfast. I cooked some bacon earlier after I went to the store, and I think I mentioned that I got chocolate morsels at the store. So obviously, if you can put two and two together, I made chocolate-covered bacon for breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever you want to call it. Because this is seriously the first thing I've eaten today, and I've had 3 pieces, and it's the most delicious thing I've ever had. Oh my god. It's so good. So good. I've never tasted anything so perfect. You know? This was seriously the best decision I've made today. All of you seriously need to try this. It's so good. It's perfect. Words can't describe it. I'll leave instructions how to make it in the description. James, I'll see you tomorrow. DFTBA.